I just got my order from Urban Decay with the Naked Urban Decay On the Run palette in it. So I thought I would go ahead and do a video, a first impression style video on this here palette today. I do have everything in this kit on my face right now, which if you're interested in seeing like a demo and how they applied and how I got the look on my face, you can hang tight towards the end of the video and it will be there for you. But packaging is super. I think it's really pretty. Like, well, this is the box, but the actual packaging mirrors the box as well. It looks like this right here. It is actually quite heavy and rather substantial packaging. So on the run, I'm not so sure how on the run it may be for some folks, because it is quite heavy. Size wise, this is what it compares to like a Naked palette right there. So here's an up close of the packaging, and you do have listed the powder eyeshadows that are inside the case on the back of the palette there. On the back of the box, it does say that there are 6 never before seen shades of eyeshadow, including an extra large dose of the perfect all over shade in 50/50, which is this large one over here. I had initially thought that was going to be a highlighter, but it's an all over shadow is what they're calling it. All over shade 50/50. I was going to use it as a highlighter today, but upon further inspection I thought it was going to deepen up too much on the top of my cheekbone, so I didn't. But I think if you're light, medium, even possibly darker skin tones, you could get away with using this as a highlighter on the top of your cheeks. They're saying that all of these are eyeshadows right there, which are 6 never before seen shades. It just calls these bronzer and blush simply. And then the other products in here are it's like a deluxe sample. It's not the full size of a mascara. And then you've got Stag 24/7 Glide On Pencil, which is a black and brown. And then the lip gloss in here is Sesso. I found the bronzer in the On the Run kit to be the closest to the bronzer in the original Naked Flushed palette. So the first one that they came out with, I found that the bronzer is the closest in the original Flushed palette, and then this one. They're pretty doggone similar. I'll swatch everything in a minute, but those are the 2 bronzers. And I thought initially that it was going to pull a little bit more orange on me than it did, but it blended out really nicely, the one in the palette, and it hadn't taken on as much orange as I had initially thought it was going to. And then the blush in the palette is the most similar to the blush in the Naked Flushed palette in Native, which is right here. So here's the Native blush and here's the blush in the palette. They have got similar tones to them right there. If that's helpful for you guys, because it doesn't really say what either of these blush and bronzers are. They're just simply called blush and bronzer. But I did find that both of them blended out and applied and had nice pigmentation to them. The bronzer I don't think is really skin tone universal. I think medium deep skin tones, this may not show up on you, but I do think that the blush can be buffed out for light all the way to dark and built up on darker skin tones. So that's kind of how I feel about those 2 products there. The blush does have a slight shimmer sheen, not like shimmer, but it's got some little sparkles in it. It goes on the face more like, I guess, a satin sheen looking type, and then the bronzer is like a satin. I wouldn't call it, it looks matte, I guess. I'd call it a satin matte type there. Now as far as the eyeshadows are concerned, there are 2 matte shades in there, which are these 2 right here. They are called Fix and Dare. Those are the 2 matte shades in the palette, and the formulation of the mattes in this palette are very similar to the newer formulation of mattes that I have been experiencing with Urban Decay. The Urban Decay Basics 1 and 2, the Urban Decay Pulp Fiction palette, and also the Vice 3 palette. I've experienced their mattes to be very thin in consistency, and they are quite powdery. On my dry lids, I get a lot of patchiness with their newer formulated matte eyeshadows. Like the ones from older palettes, like my Theodora palette, I think, yeah, has a matte in it, and like my Urban Decay Big Mother Load set, the mattes in there are a little bit different. They adhere to themselves a lot better than their newer mattes. Like I can't build the newer Urban Decay mattes on themselves. They just go patchy. They don't build on each other. So I did use the mattes in this matte mostly in this palette on the look, and I started to get slight patchiness, but it buffed out in with the shimmer and the highlight shade that I had put down. But I knew that I was going to have to be a little bit cautious of doing that, so I was a little bit particular on placing the shadows to avoid getting a mess. So that's just my feeling on the matte shadows, but the look did come out fairly nice and simple. It's a very neutral look, and I do feel like these 4 shades in particular are very similar in depth, and it could have used a deeper shade. Like, I think that these shades here are all, you know, quite similar in depth. So when I put this appears to be the darkest shade in the palette, and I put that in the crease, but I feel like there could be a little bit more definition going on in there. But you could use the 24/7 liner that's in the palette to get some more depth out of those eyeshadows, like as a base and stuff like that. But for me, the eyeliner isn't creamy enough or tacky enough for me to be able to do that. Like, I just won't be able to get things to stick to it because I have those dry lids again. So, but you could do that, but I think it would have just been more beneficial to have one shade a little bit darker. When I used the shades, it all kind of, I don't know, it kind of meshed together. I think it's pretty. I think it's really wearable and very neutral, but it's really mushed together is how I feel about it, because I think these shades are so similar in tone. But I'm going to get up close to the camera now and show you guys these up close and then give you guys swatches. So here are the powder products up close. This is like a, it's got some little fine shimmers in it, but I think it's one of the, it's also a very thin texture. It's like a satin color, I would call it. And then you've got a shimmer here, and then this one is also a shimmer with some small micro glitter in it. But everything is showing up very true in the viewfinder. This has got some slight little sparkles in it, and this is kind of like a satin matte color right there. So you can see that these tones are really, they came out really similar on the eyes. I used these 3 shades in particular. So I could have used something with some more depth is what I'm trying to say. But this shade is really beautiful. It's like a, I guess it's almost like a rose gold shade. But this guy and that guy are the mattes there, so. See, the colors are really gorgeous. Whoa. Well, see, like, as far as the depth goes, I think that they're, like, these are really similar. Let me get the, this one in there as well. See, the depth of those is all, they're all mid-range. I think they're all quite similar in depth. I think there could have been used, a darker one could have been useful, is what I'm trying to say. But there are those shadow shades, and then let's do these colors right there. And then the all over 50/50 highlight shade right there. See, I think a lot of people could probably get away with using that as a highlight as well as a shadow. But, oh boy, you can't see that hardly at all. But there are swatches of the powder products right there. And I guess I can tell you what they call these. This is called Dive, Fix, Resist, Dare, Stun, and 50/50. Then I'll just show you guys the full size of Urban Decay Perversion, because I'm not going to open the little one just yet. I've got way too many mascaras that are open. So this is, it's just a black mascara. Looks like that right there. And then the other 2 products in here are the 24/7 Glide On Pencil in Stag, which is like a black and brown color. Looks like that. I know you guys love my swatches. And then the gloss that comes in there, which is on my lips as well, is in the shade Sesso, which is a real neutral rosy pink color. It's got nice pigmentation, but these glosses, they feel really nice on the lips, and they are supposed to have some conditioning ingredients in them as well. One other little thing to point out is, I know I've got larger hands, but I can't get the mascara out or the lip gloss without tipping the palette upside down like this. Like, my fingers don't fit in there, which is, if you're working and you're trying to get it out, you have to pick the palette up and tip it upside down if I guess you have hands as large as mine. And then too, these products right here do take up half, almost half, well, I would go with half of the palette. So I almost think that they should have, I mean, it seems convenient to have everything all in one, but it makes it so much more bulky to have these in there. And then if you do use up this mascara, you know, and want to put it in, you're going to have to find a mini size of the Perversion to fit it in there, because the full size does not fit. But you can use the, you know, fit other mini liners and lip glosses in the slots. But that's just something to be aware of. They could have, you know, made the palette half the size and included these on the side, but then again, that I guess kind of defeats the perfect purpose of having everything all in one little case to be on the go. So depending on how you look at it, you may or may not like that. So yeah, that is the Naked Urban Decay On The Run palette. I bought mine off the Urban Decay website, and I saw earlier today that it is available on Sephora for VIB Rouge right now. I know it will be available to everybody fairly soon, so yeah, that is what she looks like. I do think the packaging is really, really pretty though. I gotta say that. It feels nice and substantial as well. So there are my first initial thoughts on that guy. Now, if you're interested in seeing how the products performed and the look that's on my face, you can hang tight and we'll get into it right now. On a MAC 168 angled brush, I'm going to dip into the bronzer here. The pan is a little bit too small for one of my larger bronzer brushes, so I'm going to use this one right here and dip that into the bronzer. And I'm going to contour bronze up my face with this, starting from the back of the cheeks here. It looks rather orangish in the pan, kind of, but on the face, it's not coming off quite as orange as it looks in the pan. I thought it was going to be too orange for me, but I'll just go like so. Upon further inspection, it is just a little bit orange. I'm going to take a powder brush. This is a Real Techniques multitasker, and I'm just going to buff that bronzer into the skin really well. It really buffed in well to the skin though, so it looks pretty. I'm going to take a Chikuhodo cheek highlight brush, and I'm going to dip into the blush there on the tip of that. And I'm going to put this on my cheeks here. That's a pretty pink blush as well. It's got a slight sheen to it. Now to prime the eyes, I have two new cream eyeshadows from RMS, which typically I use the concealer from RMS to prime my eyelids. I have really dry lids, so I really need something that's hydrating and tacky to, for my eyelids. So I have got Lunar here, which is a lighter color. And these are like the same formulation as the concealer. They've got coconut oil, real hydrating, good ingredients in there. It's like a shimmery champagne shade. And then I have got Solar, which looks like that. It's more of a bronzy shade. I'm going to put Solar on the lid and up towards the crease, and then I'm going to blend Lunar downwards into it. They look pretty. I just think that these are going to be great for eyeshadow bases for me, because like the MAC paint pots and cream shadows like that, they're too drying. Like I can't get shadow to even stick to them when I use those. So now I'm going to take Lunar and I'm going to put it up here and see how she goes. So just kind of like that for bases. Now let's dive into these shadows here. I'm going to pick up this shade right here, which is called 50/50 on a Goss number 18 brush. I'm just going to pick up a dash of that. It's like a kind of satin. It's quite powdery. I'm going to put that on the first part of the inner part of my lid right here. Just right there. Then on that same Goss 18 brush, I'm going to pick up this shade right here, which is called Dive. It's like a shimmery copper type of shade right there on that same Goss 18 brush. I'm going to pick that up. I'm going to pack this all over the center part of my lid. And that's pretty. Now I'm going to go into this center shade right here, which is kind of a slightly taupey mid-tone brown color. It is called Resist. And I'm going to use that on a Goss number 6 brush. So it looks like that. I'm going to put the tip in there, and I'm going to work this on the outer portion of my eye up through the crease and bring it up kind of higher. Right through here. pick up a tiny bit more of that shade there, which it's kind of the darkest shade in the whole palette. So this is about the depth that you're going to get from the whole palette here. Just kind of like that. I haven't had the greatest luck with Urban Decay's most recent matte eyeshadow formula, so this is going to be interesting. I'm going to take the shade Fix, which is a matte color right there, on a Real Techniques base shadow brush. This is from NYX collection that's out right now. I'm going to pick that color up on the tip of that brush there, and I'm going to blend out the darker shade we just put down. So through here. And the mattes are quite powdery, and so is that highlight shade. The shimmery ones aren't as powdery as the mattes on that highlight shade, which is kind of a satin matte so far. So ooh, a little pat. We'll try to blend that out. Let's keep going with it before I get too excited here. So put that down, and then I'm going to go back into the crease. I'm not going to pick up any more product, but I'm just going to go back into the crease with the Goss number 6 here. And just give this a little blend. And then I'm going to take a Goss number 3 brush right here, and I'm going to pick up that highlight shade again right here. I'm going to pick that up on that brush, and I'm going to highlight underneath the brow bone. Put that down there. And then I'm going to pick up a little bit more of this matte shade and blend it up into that highlight, and hope I don't get no patchiness, which that's the problem I have with their mattes. They blend into patchiness with me, so not too bad. It's a slightly, ever so slightly patchy, but not too bad. Not like when I used the Naked Basics palettes, it was just so frustrating for me. I know my dry lids have something to do with it, but their matte shadows are like really thin in texture, and they don't build on each other quite as nicely. But that's kind of pretty though. I think that's pretty. Let's take a little bit of this matte brown color right here and put it in the crease and see if it deepens up that crease a little bit, because it's that darkest brown isn't quite as dark. That ought to get her though. That's pretty good. Now I'm going to take the pencil that came in the palette, which is a 24/7 Glide On in the shade Stag, which looks like a deep black and brown color, and I'm going to run that along my upper lash line. Those aren't my favorite pencils in the world. I know a lot of people love them, but they don't stay on my waterline like at all. And then too, they don't glide on quite as nicely as they should on the top lash line. I'm real particular about pulling on the skin. But I'm going to finish on my eye makeup, and I'll be right back, and I'll show you what it looks like before I put on eyelashes as well. So I didn't use the mascara that's in the kit because I already have the Perversion mascara. I bought it a while back. It's a decent mascara, but you can, if you can see, I've got one coat of the Subversion primer on, and then you really have to let that primer dry and then go in with the mascara. It gives good length and thickness, but it can kind of, you can see, it can kind of stick your lashes together, so you'll want to maybe have a lash comb handy. So there's the eyes. Hopefully you're not getting too much glare off my lights, but there are the eyes done without the lashes. Now I'm going to put on the lashes, and I'll be back to put on some lips for you guys. I'm going to put this new eyeliner. I just got it. It's by Ardency In. It's a Modster eyeliner. Smooth Ride Supercharged Eyeliner. This is in the color, it's in the shade Grass, which is a bright green color. I'm going to wipe off my waterline with a Q-tip here. And then I'm going to put that on. I'm hoping that these have some type of amazing staying power, so we'll see. And if they do, I'll keep you updated. Not as bright as I thought it was going to be. That eyeliner is a fail. I just tried to go over it to deepen it up and it's just pulling it right off the waterline. Like, it's not even on there. That's a fail. That's really disappointing. I'm just going to go in with my trusty Marc Jacobs Highliner Gel Crayon in the shade Introvert. And we're going to use this guy instead. Trustworthy. I'm totally still disappointed in that liner right now, that Modster one. I had high hopes for that. Anyway, I'm going to go in with the Lipstick Queen lip liner, and this is in the shade, it's just called Pink. And I'm going to fill in my lips and bring it in as well. Now over the top of that lip liner, I'm going to put the gloss that comes in the kit, which is in the shade Sesso. Looks like that. I'm just going to put this lip gloss over the top. So there is the overall finished look using the Urban Decay Naked on the Run kit. I'm feeling very neutral, very wearable right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to wear sunscreen, and I'll see you guys later.